So it's it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and right behind me, over my shoulder here, you can see the moon is setting in the west over top of the mountain there. It's really cool. Have a look.
Pretty cool out here in the bush at sunset near Polokwane, province of Limpopo. So arrived at the lodge this afternoon. It's really awesome here. It's really remote out here in the bush, and sunset. So getting ready for the next step of the visual Nomad adventure, and off to see the rock art in the morning. It's gonna be pretty awesome. It's, as far as I know, it's off in those mountains over behind me there, so it's gonna be cool. Got an early start in the morning, and Fortune, who is the owner of the lodge, an incredible businessman, entrepreneur, environmentalist, social activist, really, took me way out into the Mabeba Plateau, really remote, beautiful, stark countryside, to see the ancient sand rock art, which ranges between 1,000 and 4,000 years old. Amazing stuff. And we were meeting up with Jonas, the local guide who lives in the area, who's an expert in the local flora and fauna, and also a really comprehensive expert on the sand rock art and the culture that goes behind it. So during the hike into the first rock shelter to look at the rock art, Jonas also described the leopards that live in the area and how they frequently inhabit these rock caves and this rocky terrain as well.
Let me take this opportunity to officially welcome you to the medicine dance site of the Mabeba, wherein it depicts what you call the shamanism, the religion of the Sand people.
Okay.
These are the nomadic hunters who migrated far from Central Africa. So some landed in the Mapungubwe area, around the Limpopo Shashi area, Trans-Frontier Park. So, but immediately when they arrived here, they did not begin with the artistic way of doing the paintings in the shelters like this. It is something that happened between 4,000 and 1,000 years ago. So what normally happens is that all the paintings that we discovered during the survey, that took us 6.5 years to complete around the Mabeba area, in which we documented 690 rock art sites.
Wow.
This is one of the sites that we found.
Jonas went on to explain in great detail the ceremony that the shamans would go through of very long periods of dance to enter a trance state to get their visions. I soon realized that the only way you could really appreciate this art and understand it was to have that awareness.
And when he comes back, he shall have acquired all the necessary power he envisaged to have and wanted to utilize when he came back. Then in that process, he will come and share with the people, or perhaps during the journey, he will be sharing with the people what this experience is all about. And at the end of the day, such shamans come and paint all the experience in the rock art, in the rock shelters like this. Why they painted here? Because the rock face to them act as a veil or a curtain that separates the natural world from the spirit world. So if you look at this rock, to them, it forms a backdrop. You see, behind this, where we can't reach, is God's house. Where we see is our own environment where we live. In many shelters that we documented, some are around Mapunguya where we have been, you will find that there is a painting of a particular animal that comes out of a crack or that goes into a crack.
Oh.
Whatever is painted go into a crack or coming out of a crack or coming out of a step, that is a spirit animal coming out of spirit world. Or a spirit animal going into the spiritual world where God lives. It could be vice versa. So currently what is happening here, what I want to talk about, similar to all the examples that I've mentioned already, is this. That if you look here, you see there is this animal that came out of the step. You see the front legs and the head, but you can't see the hind legs, isn't it?
Ah.
This one also animal is attached to this dense stick. So both of the animals are spirit animals. This one is the animal that comes out of the spirit. It comes out of the spirit world.
Fascinating. It's beautiful.
So the Bushmen in this area, what they did here, they used what you call a red ochre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mixed with some egg yolk, plant sap, and fats.
Uh-huh. To create the paint.
Yes. And mind you, these guys, there's one thing that actually amazed me about their artistic knowledge, that I haven't seen any shelter wherein they've painted very ugly images or paintings. Every shelter wherein I came across the paintings is like the same expert repeated themselves. Where did they practice? On the sand before they transfer that to the shelter. And this is what we call a fine line painting. You will be seeing the finger paintings not long, which is a different culture and tradition from this one.
Mm-hmm.
This one is between 4,000 and 1,000 years ago. In terms of the indirect dating that the archaeologists actually undertook.
Wow. I'm amazed at how fine and refined they are, the images. How delicate the images are.
Very delicate indeed.
They're beautiful. Especially the smaller images at the bottom, the human figures at the
These
bottom.
ones.
Those are astounding.
You know what these guys do? They cut the very, very bear's hair, ne?
Yeah.
Then they tie it around the stalk to make a brush. They dip that brush into the pigment and start like a pen writing.
Wow. It's amazing.
And similar, they take a twig of a branch like this one, which is what, and they chew it a little bit here to make it soft here.
Oh,
and it
just
becomes
kinda...
a brush, yes.
Wow. Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Very artistic
story too, yeah. The history is amazing.
These people lived here for many years. And this is what they have left. It is in the form of the history books that you guys wrote. This is their history book.
Jonas also showed us extensive examples of finger paintings in other rock shelters, which depicted early interactions between Europeans and indigenous people, and also showed images of trains, which was really interesting, and the role that they played during those interactions, which unfortunately there was many hostilities as well. But again, without Jonas's guidance and explanations, the art really would have been without meaning.
There is stacks of rock paintings here. And mind you, this is what we call a finger painting. It's a finger painting. No longer fine line. You can look at it.
Yeah, I can see
This is what we call pre-colonial contact images. You see, not that the enemy kills you and eventually fight with your father. It's not a good tactic.
Wow. Yesterday we were in the mountains off behind me here, and the thing that really struck me, was really astounding, was the sand paintings by the sand people and how fine and detailed they were, as if they were made with fine brush strokes, and the execution and the perfection of the animals that they painted was truly astounding. It was absolutely amazing what had been created, and the stories behind, the shamanistic stories behind them, you know, why they created them was truly amazing. And it just impacts me again, the importance of, you know, visual communication and how it's just so ingrained in us, and has been since millennium, since the beginning. It's just a natural part of us to want to make images, to communicate, express ourselves. And I think maybe we forget that nowadays, especially the value of something that's handcrafted by ourselves. Has so much meaning, so much depth, so much emotion. And those things I saw yesterday really inspired me in that respect.
The way that those people understand their own culture. It's like, when you research my culture, you must come and engage me. Don't just sit here and write about my culture and think that is the way we live without coming to us. You're making a mistake. You see?
I agree. I agree. That's why I'm here.
Okay.